All right, Cheesers, we're going to be doing another tier list today. I haven't done one of these in a while. I haven't posted in the past week, and it is no coincidence that I've been playing the Elden Ring DLC the past week, and yeah, that's why I haven't really posted much. But I am going to do some more stuff on the finals soon. I've been kind of waiting on the update, and it keeps getting delayed. But I think I'll do some videos on this too. I think I'm going to do this tier list video. I'll probably do an overall thoughts on the DLC video, and then I want to do a funny. I haven't done one of these in a while. I want to do a funny edit of my journey to beating Radahn. I think that I have a good idea with that. I think I could do something pretty fun. So that might take a while. That'll probably come out last out of these three ideas. But I think I'm gonna try to do those three. But yeah, stream the whole thing. We'll get those videos out of it for content purposes for the YouTube side. But for today, gonna be doing this boss tier list. I made sure that I beat every boss in the DLC, so I'm as prepared as I possibly could be for this. I've seen all these. I'll admit, some of them I may remember better than others. Some of them might be a little chalked. I'll try my best. But I promise I've seen all of them. It's just, man, over the course of a week, you go all over the place. The map is huge. So much shit happens. Like, some of it's a blur. Some of it's like super memorable. Some of it's a blur. So I'll try my best. And the way that I rate these, if you didn't watch the other one or any of the tier lists I do, is that it's like a combination. I try to combine the visual side, but also like the gameplay side. Like, how fun is the boss to fight? Is there any like stupid cheesy shit to it? How cool is the moveset? How cool are they just like personality wise? You know, like not necessarily like character wise, but I don't know. Like some bosses really stand out. Like, I guess early on, I could give an example. Like Mesmer would be a good example of that with like his lines and stuff. Like he's got good character to him, whereas like, you know, the bear isn't gonna have as much of that. Is what I'm trying to say about that. But yeah, just like a combination. The difficulty will factor into it as well. I think like not necessarily. I'm not gonna do. I think some people do the thing where like the harder a boss is, the higher they're gonna rate it. I am more on the end of like, if something's like super ridiculously too hard for like the wrong reasons, or if something's like too ridiculously too easy, that's probably gonna take away from it a bit. If it's a good difficulty, then that'll bring my rating up. It can be a little bit on the easier side. It can be a little bit more average. It could be a little bit on the harder side. Just if it's in like a good range. Especially like with the context of where it is in the DLC, where you encounter it, that'll raise my rating as well. So I think I explained that. Basically, though, what it comes down to is it's my fucking list. I don't know. That's basically what it comes down to. But I explained it the best I could. Anyways, enough preamble. Let's get into it. All right. So this demi-human queen. Yeah. So this one, I'm gonna go right into F. I don't need to spend much time on this one. This is a reuse boss. I know it's hilarious, by the way, that I'm just ripping an F tier right away, but for this boss, it's fair. It's just a reuse boss from the main game, and it's not like bad. It's just, I don't know, it's just kind of boring. We've already seen it. $40 DLC, and it's just a reuse boss that's just kind of like randomly placed, and it's just not that hard. It's one of the easier bosses and like least memorable, and it's just kind of whatever. It's just like, why it just didn't, I don't know, it just didn't need to be a boss where it was. It just felt like oh, we gotta place something here, just throw that there, you know. So like, it's not getting an F tier because it's like terrible by any means. It's just kind of like lazy, I guess. Black Knight, I'm gonna rate, I don't remember the exact difference. I think it's the weapon. I'm gonna place the Black Knights together. I think the Black Knights are pretty good. We're gonna go in B for both of them. They have cool weapons. They're nothing too crazy, but they have cool weapons. They have cool movesets. It's a challenging enough fight for what is more of like a mini boss. And yeah, for what they are, I think they're pretty cool and pretty well designed. Again, for what they are. I'm gonna rate the Death Knights together as well. I'm gonna try to find the other one because I think they're close enough. The Death Knights are pretty cool. I'll put them in B as well, ahead of the Black Knights, but I think it's the same type of thing. Just like a cool weapon to show off that you get after the fight. Cool type of enemy with a cool moveset. Nothing too crazy. It's not super hard, but it's enough to pose a bit of a challenge if you get off your game, if you get off your groove. And yeah, just again, for what they are, for just like you know, these bosses aren't really like characters like some of the other like remembrance bosses. They're just a tool to, you know, show off the weapon essentially. They're very good at that. They're very good at that, and I think they're pretty fun. This one. This is the first boss that I think most people will encounter. It's the first one that I encountered. I'm gonna go right in C. It's nothing too crazy. It's just, honestly, I think it's a solid introduction to the DLC for the first boss that most people will see. It's not super hard, but it's challenging enough if you haven't played the game in a while, which I think a lot of people come into the DLC will be in that, you know, situation. It's challenging enough to where it kind of like gets you back into the groove a bit. Gets you back into the groove, like, okay, I'm playing Elden Ring, let me lock in. You know, if you go into him and you're like, ah, this guy sucks, you might actually get cooked a little bit. But if you actually like take him seriously, you can do pretty well in the fight. But yeah, I think it's just totally fine for what it is. Ancient Dragon Senisax? I don't know. We're gonna go. I don't love the dragon fights in the DLC, except for one. But this one will just go E, I guess. Yeah, I don't love the AoE dragons in the base game, and I don't love this one either, and it doesn't feel like super unique compared to those ones from the base game. It just feels like another AoE spewing dragon. The Dancer of Rana, I'll go C above Black Owl Knight. Actually, I'm gonna go low B because I really like the set. Okay, I know it's a little biased, but I mean that kind of played into these as well. I really like the armor set and the weapon that this NPC boss drops, so I'm throwing it a little higher up. Because I just think all across the board it's really cool. I like all of it. I want to run all of it. So yeah, I'm being a little biased for that. The actual like moveset is pretty cool, and it's a fine enough fight for you know, just a quick boss fight to get an armor set and a weapon and some runes. Nothing too crazy, but I really like the set, so I'm being a little biased there. Demi-Human, Swordmaster. I think this is the guy, if I recall correctly, I'm pretty sure this is the guy that you're probably going to fight pretty early on as well. That's like super small, super squishy, but super cracked and does like some crazy combos. This one's pretty cool. I got to put, you know, I should probably put the Dancer down. We're going to put the Dancer down. I'm going to put this one in low B. I think this one's actually pretty cool. You know, I'm gonna move some around. I'm probably gonna do this a lot, by the way, throughout the tier list. We have a lot of Bs right now, but I promise it'll balance out. I think this one's pretty cool. It's nothing too crazy, but it's another early introductory boss that kind of like wakes you up and you're like, oh shit, like, yeah, this guy doesn't have that much health, but like his combos are crazy. If I don't take him seriously and dodge everything, I might fucking die. Especially on like low level of the fragments, like he might actually kill you really quickly. His moves are really cool. He's, for being like such a low level, just like a dungeon boss, he's like pretty memorable. So I think he's pretty cool. Ghost Flame Durgan, I'm just going E tier for Durgans. Actually, specifically, I'm gonna pretend that this is the one that spawns near a camp. We're gonna throw that one in F tier. And this one, I'm going to assume this is like the other ones that spawn not near camp. That one can go E tier. Oh, it should be in front of that one too. I'm looking ahead. Is there another? I think there's one more Durgan. I'm going to skip ahead. Jagged Peak Drake. Yeah, that one too. That's just like, at least the Ghost Flame ones have like a different design. This one can go in F because it's basically just another dragon from the main game. So yeah, most of the Durgans are just kind of whatever. They're just, at this point, they're just kind of boring fights. Except for the big dragons, we'll get to that, where they do something unique. Most of the regular ones are just kind of boring fights at this point. We've done so many of them. County Mirror, I think this guy's really cool. And I think the setup for this fight and the quest line... Well, for one, I think the quest lines in general in Elden Ring are really fucking confusing. And it kind of annoys me how I have to use, like, guides for everything. But this is one that I was able to do on my own, like, very easily, very intuitively, or for the most part. Did most of it on my own, and like got the general idea of it, and I think it was really cool. I think the setup for like getting him, retrieving the items, and then like the kind of like treasure hunt going on with that, and then eventually like going below like the throne or whatever. And like setting up that a later cool boss fight, and then you get to fight them as well. Like, it's a really cool setup. The actual fight itself isn't that crazy, but the characters are cool, and the setup of it is really cool, and there's a lot of effort put into it. So I'll give it a lot of credit for that. So it's like kind of a low-level fight, but all the other stuff, the character of it is pretty high. So we'll go like high C. Red Bear. Again, I think the set is really cool. I'm gonna go D though. I think the set is really cool. The fight's kind of whatever. I don't love the set as much as this one. It's cooler than that one. We'll go like D. Yeah, we'll go like right there. Falling Star Beast. I really like Falling Star Beasts, so I will go low D. But it is another reuse boss. From the main game, I don't think there's anything unique about this Falling Star Beast, which is a little disappointing. I really like the Falling Star Beast, actually, and I would have enjoyed if they reused it, but, like, there is a twist or something, like, different to the fight. But as far as I could tell, there really wasn't. It just felt like another normal Falling Star Beast fight, so that was kind of lame. I'm still going low D because I still think Falling Star Beast, I know it's kind of a... I don't know, I feel like the opinions really range on this one. I feel like it's a really polarizing boss. I feel like people either really love it or really hate it. I really love it. I think they're super fun to fight. Like, in the main game... I'd probably rate Falling Star Beast at like an A, but in the DLC, $40 DLC reused boss from the main game that's nothing different. It's low D is the best I could do. Even for one that I really like, it's the best that I could do. I can't go much more than that. Lamenter. I think the idea of Lamenter is cool, but the execution is kind of off, and it was kind of a boring fight when I fought it, so I'm gonna go like high E. It's cool. It's, again, like the idea of the clones and stuff, it's different. I haven't really fought an enemy boss in these games. I fought bosses like that in other games, but not like in Elden Ring in particular. I don't think I have. So I think that's pretty sweet. But yeah, the execution, it just, I don't know, it was just kind of like, maybe my level was too high, but he kind of just didn't really attack much, and when I got attacked, it wasn't that much damage, and I just kind of destroyed the health bar. And the clone stuff just, I don't know, it just felt like it took time. It just felt like it took longer time for me to finish the fight than an average one. Like, it could have been interesting, but it wasn't. Like, maybe that idea should have been used on like a higher end boss, maybe. But yeah, I respect the idea. I respect the attempt, but I don't know, it's just ended up being kind of whatever. It's Curse Blade one. I'll go like low C. I feel like it's basically another, like, just normal enemy that you fight, reskin type boss at the end of a dungeon. But it's, I don't know, it's like kind of a cool enemy, I guess. So we'll just leave it like there. Tree Sentinel ×2, duo boss, reuse boss. You can kind of cheese it, by the way. You don't have to fight both of them at the same time. But technically another duo boss, another reuse boss. I don't think there's anything really unique about them compared to the main game versions. It's going to have to be... even though I really like Tree Sentinels, and I think it's a pretty well-designed, like, enemy in the base game, it's got to be an F here. And I like them quite a bit more than this, but it is a duo fight, though. Yeah, it can stay. It can stay top F. Chief Bloodfiend, this is another, like, this is basically just a normal enemy. I guess I'll go ahead of the Falling Star Beast for it being like something new, but it's just, I don't know. It's fine, I guess. It's just another normal enemy at the end of a cave boss. Like, it's kind of whatever, kind of forgettable. Very missable, too. This one was very missable. Deathrite Bird. Not the biggest Deathrite Bird fan, but not the biggest hater. But it is another reuse boss. I'll leave the Tree Sentinels ahead. I'm going to go F again. The only reuse boss I'm putting higher is the Falling Star Beast because I just really love it, but... yeah, it's the best I could do. I don't know. Right now, the F tier is basically all just reuse bosses from the main game, essentially. You could even say that for the dragons, basically, too, yeah. Which I think is fair. And I know what you're thinking. Yeah, S and A haven't had any yet, but I'm specifically doing a thing. All right, we'll get there. We'll get there. Rakasha... I don't know. The katana's cool. The armor set's cool. So I'll give it, you know, that's the best I could give credit for an NPC boss. I'll leave it around the Dancer. I still think the Dancer stuff is cooler, in my opinion. Gaius. This fight kicked my ass the first, like, 5-10 attempts-ish. And then I got locked in and did it in like 2 or 3 after that. But I think a lot of people do get like really stuck on this one, and I can see why. He's pretty cracked. But I didn't find anything too crazy with the fight when I fought him. So I thought Gaius was pretty cool. Oh man, the fragments you get after too, that might raise his rating. I'll go top B. I'll go top B for now. I think he's pretty cool. I enjoyed that fight. It's pretty cracked, but once I learned it, I found that it wasn't too crazy, and I actually had a pretty good time fighting him. It's also a horse fight in the DLC that you can also like fight him on the horse. I didn't do that, but it's something that you can do, which is kind of cool. I'm gonna rate the bears together. The bears, not my favorite enemy from the base game with the big rune bears, but I'm gonna give them credit. There's at least like a reskin, and there's at least like a slight redesign. Like they at least have some new moves, and they're a little bit different, and they drop some cool loot. So that's more than I can say for a lot of the other like reskin reuse bosses in the DLC. So I'll at least give them credit for that. So I'm gonna put the bears ahead of the Falling Star Beast, which makes me feel kind of... I still can't do that. We'll leave them right behind it. Maybe they should be E, man. No, they should be E. They should be E. Furnace Golems, I hate these. Tell you the truth, I hate these. This is bottom F. I'm not kidding. This is bottom F. I hate the Furnace Golems. Visually, don't get me wrong, and this goes to show how much I hate these, like, gameplay-wise, that I'm putting them in F, when I'm about to say that, like, visually, they're, like, S+++++. Like, visual design, sound design, like, all that shit, they're very, very, very cool looking. The moves are very cool looking. Can't deny any of that. The loot that they drop is awesome, and that's why I did eventually... I avoided these for a long time. I eventually did end up doing them because the loot is incredible. But it just has to be bottom F because fighting them is the most tedious, boring shit ever. Yes, I know about the pots. I don't care. It's still just, I don't know. Just the fight, it's just like the worst type of Elden Ring fight. Just like enemy that just towers over you. You whack the feet the whole time. Eventually, it'll occasionally attack. You just dodge that and you just whack the feet the whole time. Eventually, you get a fucking, you get the crit. Like, it's just, I don't know. I'm just kind of tired of those types of enemies in Elden Ring. They're not the most fun to fight, and the Furnace Golems essentially replace the role of the air tree like avatars in the main game, and I actually really like those, and I think that's a really well-designed boss for what it is and for what their purpose is, and that kind of makes me hate the Furnace Golems more. Like, they take the place of a boss that I think was like super well-designed for what it was in the main game, and it's just, these things are just annoying. They're just a pain in the ass. Hate them. Bottom F. Easy. No questions asked. Move on. This is an ad boss. It's not the worst ad boss that I've done, at least when I did it, but it's still an ad boss. We'll go like there in E. I'm gonna take a drink, but we'll go like there. Ancient Dragon Man. I think Ancient Dragon Man's kind of cool. As far as an NPC design, I don't know. I think his design is pretty cool. I'm gonna give Ancient Dragon Man some rule of cool credit. I can't reasonably put any of these in B, so I'll go top C. I can't put him above County Mirror. I'll put him like with the rest of them. But I just think his design's really cool. Yeah, like the set and stuff, and the weapon. I just think it's cool shit. I just lost full when I was playing, and I found the guy, and I ended up fighting him, and I was like, Ancient Dragon Man, what the hell is that? I just thought it was hilarious, so I kind of love the Ancient Dragon Man. In my heart, I want to put him like B or A, but I'm going to leave him in C, because I think that's probably fair. Okay, did I miss any? No, we're to all the crazy ones now. I skipped ahead and did Gaius, so my bad, but we're to all the big bosses now. Let me make sure I have time on the soundtrack here. Oh yeah, we got time. We should have time. Okay. Golden Hippo is an easy, immediate F. I'll go top of F, I guess. But easy, immediate F. Golden Hippo, I'm pretty sure there's other things that really bothered me about this fight. But the two things, it's been a while since I fought this, since it's, you know, one of the earlier big fights that you do, or should do. The two things I remember off the top of my head that really bothered me about this fight were the hitboxes and the charge move that the hippo does, where the terrain is like uneven in the arena and the speed like changes depending on that. And that's the difficulty of that move, not the actual like move itself. This boss, I don't know if it was playtested or not, but yeah, the hitboxes are terrible. That move is terrible. It's another one where the camera's terrible. I hate this one. It's not that hard of a boss, but it still takes many attempts, or at least it did for me on the first try, because it's like extremely tilting. It's like one of the most tilting bosses. We'll get to Radahn. Radahn really hurt my spirits, but I honestly think Golden Hippo was like more tilting, which is funny. But yeah, I don't care for Golden Hippo. I'm gonna move Radahn towards the. Hold on, I'm gonna change the order of these up a little bit. We're gonna try to go earlier, like ones that you'll encounter earlier, and we're gonna. I'm gonna try to move this this order around, at least as far as like somewhat to how I discovered them. That's close enough. That's close enough. Okay. I should have done this one earlier. Divine Beast, Dancing Lion. If you watched me fight this on stream, might be kind of surprised by this. But I'm gonna rate this one. I'm gonna rate the first one that you fight. I will go low D. I know that's probably. I should probably go ahead of Falling Star Beast. You look at these NPCs and shit. It's like, you know what? I'll go top of D because the soundtrack slaps. I'll go top of D because the soundtrack slaps. But to tell you the truth, this fight really pisses me off. This is another fight where the camera is just awful. Just absolutely awful. And the way the enemy moves also really reminds me of the ulcerated like tree spirit from the main game. And I really hate those enemies too. That's one of my least favorites from the main game. So yeah, I just did not really love the Divine Beast. I think the idea of the fight is really cool. I think the visual, the vibe of the fight, I think all that shit is really cool. But actually, like gameplay wise, with the camera bugging out and the wiggly moves and shit like that, I don't enjoy as much. I don't really like playing the fight. I think watching it, if I was watching someone stream it, I'd be like, oh man, this fight's awesome. But then like playing it, it's like, it's kind of ass. I don't know. And the second one, again, I'm doing this one a service by not counting this in this list. The fact that they fucking Estelle this one basically with a randomly placed like second one in the DLC, and then that one has fucking ads and Deathblight. That one would maybe be bottom F. If that was in the tier list, if the Divine Beast Dancing Lion 2 was in the tier list, that would be my bottom F easily under the Furnace Golem. I'm not even kidding. I hate that one. That one really pisses me off, just that it exists. I didn't spend the most time in it. It wasn't like the worst boss. It just, in terms of like deaths, it was just like, man, why? Like, this is just annoying and frustrating. Like, why? I didn't even want to fight it. But yeah, just a few, the Divine Beast just has a lot of my pet peeves as far as Elden Ring bosses go. But the design is really cool, and I swear it has the best damn soundtrack in the whole fucking game, DLC included, everything. I love the OST for this fight. It's incredible. That will be going on the playlist for sure. But I don't love the fight that much. I think Rolana's really cool. I'll go S. I think Rolana's really cool. It's a cracked boss. When I replay through the DLC, I need to fight Rolana when I should, because I actually kind of went ahead and did some other bosses before Rolana. I did a weird order. So she was a bit easier when I fought her. It only took me like 2 tries, and I don't think that would have been the case if I fought her when like I should have. So I need to fight her again. But the design of this fight was really cool. It's really cracked. It seems like it'd be really hard at like the right level. But just like the move set and the visuals of it, and it's just like the character, it's really fucking cool. I love the armor set. The weapons are cool. I kind of love it. I think it's awesome. Design's sweet. Oh, Mesmer's easy S. Top of S for now. Mesmer's great. This fight, I can see why it frustrates people, but I did not have that experience with it. This boss probably took the second or third longest for me of any fight in the DLC. But as opposed to the other ones that like took a long time that might have been like frustrating, this one took a long time, but it was enjoyable the whole time. Like I had fun the whole time. Didn't get like super frustrated doing multiple attempts and taking a while to get past them. It's just a really cool fight. I see like comments and stuff on him like not having windows. I don't really get that to like heal or attack. I don't really get that. I think they need to play the fight and pay attention more, because I was using like slow ass colossal weapons and I still found like plenty of windows. Yes, he has some weird moments in his combos where like it looks like there's an opening and there's not. But once you recognize those, when he gets to the end of his combos, he legit like just stops. He just like stops for quite a bit. And especially in like phase 2. Phase 2 is pretty cracked, but if you can make it to the end of that like snake combo, there's a really nice punish window at the end of that like third snake attack. So yeah, so like I don't understand that feedback. I think he's got like plenty of opportunities to attack. I think it's a really cool fight. I think it has like the character's cool, his lines are cool, soundtrack for this one's cool, the design of the whole dungeon leading into it, the moves are like fairly intuitive, I found too. I'm just resetting the tunes here, there we go. Like, he had some moves where I was like, oh, is that going to be like waterfowl? And then I tried it a few more times and I was like, oh, I can dodge this. And I can dodge it the way I think I can dodge it. And it's actually not terrible. It's difficult, but it's not terrible. It's like pretty intuitive. So I was a little worried with that, but very quickly I was like, oh, it's not like that. Awesome. And that's when I decided, like, I actually really fuck with this guy. I think he's really cool. I want to play through the DLC again, basically just to fight him. And a few others, but he's definitely pretty high on the list. Scattered Tree Avatar. I think this one's... I don't know, man. I think this one's kind of lame. This one kind of pissed me off, not gonna lie. Not as much as Divine Beast. I'll go, like, top of C. 3 health bars. Unnecessary. Most of the moves are fine, but I think the, like, explodey AoE, I'm just gonna blow myself up moves in the third phase are really dumb. I hate those types of moves. Fucking every boss seems to have one of those damn near in the DLC, unfortunately. But specifically on this one, that move is, like, really frustrating. And this is another one of those where, like, what I said with Mesmer, where I was like, I was fighting him a lot and it took a while, but it was really fun. That wasn't as much as the case with this one. This one took me a while, and it was just, like, kind of frustrating for the reasons that it took me a while. So, yeah, I struggled with this and Mesmer, but Mesmer was way more fun of a struggle, in my opinion. Scattered Tree Avatar is, like... It's a cool design, looks-wise, and the arena and everything, and some of the moves look cool, but some of them are just kind of stupid, in my opinion. Oh, yeah, like, the AoEs on this one are, like, really weird, too. They're really weird-looking, like... Figuring out the reads and the timings on that stuff was like really weird and hard for me in this fight. Just didn't seem very intuitive, unlike Mesmer's, where again I feel like I'd look at moves and be like, oh, I think I can do this, and then that would work. Not the case for this one. So, didn't love that one. Putrescent Knight, I actually think this one's a little underrated. I really like this one. Not better than these two, but I really like it. Another cool soundtrack, if I recall correctly. I think the design is really unique of the boss. I love the move where the horse and the actual like boss itself splits, but they like both attack you. I think that's really, really, really cool. Love that move. The only thing that's a little annoying is like the frost. A little bit of the frost AoE in the second half of this fight can be a bit annoying, but the weapon that you get for this fight's like really cool and unique. Yeah, I just think this boss is fucking sick. I just think it's really sick. This one, again, I think it's a little underrated. Really enjoyed fighting it. It took a little bit, not as crazy as some of the other bosses. It took a fair amount of attempts, but I really enjoyed the fight, and I thought it was really fun and just really fucking cool design. Yeah, I loved it. The Mother of Fingers. This one I expected to bother me more, and it didn't bother me as much as I thought it would. I'll leave it at A. Mostly because you get to kill the mother of fingers, and the fingers fucking suck. So I'm pretty happy about that. Um, but no, I don't know. A couple of the moves are like kind of dumb, but most of it is like pretty fairly and finely designed. And the visual of it, it's like pretty cool. And it's got some cool like lore implications, I think, with it too. I expected this boss to really piss me off, and it surprisingly didn't. This would be like the biggest surprise for me of the DLC. Is this is a boss that, knowing what I like and what I don't like, I thought I would hate this one, and I kind of didn't. Oh, we're getting to some bangers. Let's order this like more correctly. So Ramina, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm gonna go A as well. I'll go above the Mother of Fingers, but I think this one is a really cool design. It's not the craziest fight, and it's not the hardest fight in my experience, but the design of the enemy is really cool. I like how it has a similar thing going to Putrescent Knight, where it's on like a centipede, and the centipede's got like 2 heads, and whatever the hell the thing that's like riding the centipede, that can attack you. Like, the back of the centipede can attack you, the front of the centipede can attack you, and they can do, like, little combo moves. And it's one of those things that seems like it'd be overwhelming, but it was done in a way that wasn't, and was, like, really intuitive, and you pick up on it really quickly. Yeah, I just think it's a really cool, unique design that stands out. It's not the hardest boss, or at least in my experience, it wasn't. But design-wise, it was still rule of cool. I gotta give it an A-tier rating. I'm gonna go S. Midra, this is top S for me. This is top S. I fucking loved this boss. Now, I had some bosses spoiled to like some degrees for me in the DLC, and I think the reason why Midra, I think this maybe plays partly into why I loved Midra so much, is that this was like one of the big bosses, besides like maybe Bale, like the only like big boss that I didn't have spoiled in like some aspect. So he like really caught me off guard, and it was like really fresh, and it was really fucking cool. And like discovering the fight and learning the fight was really cool, and the timings felt like super intuitive to me. Like I got a really good grasp of it early on, and like the moves just like made sense. Like there weren't that many like weird timing delayed attacks that Elden Ring loves. It didn't feel like there was as many of those for me. It felt like the telegraphs were incredible. Obviously the madness plays a big role in this fight, but if you just stick close to him, it seems to not be as big of a deal. So that kind of, you know, deals with that. His moveset's really cool. I think it's really fair. I love his range attacks are cool, as his fucking melee attacks. His grab move is a really awesome animation. The way in the second phase that starts like burning down the whole place, that's really fucking cool. Yeah, this one just hits all the buttons. This is like, I loved Rykard, and that was probably my favorite boss in the main game. This is like Rykard if the gameplay was like also stepped up, because even though I really like Rykard, I'll admit it's more of a cinematic boss. And like gameplay wise, it's not the most interesting or cracked. Midra to me feels like you take the cinematography, that's not really, but the cinematic nature of Rykard's fight, and combine that with like solid gameplay of some of the other fights, and just like perfectly make a sandwich of those. That's like Midra to me, and I was like, this is fucking awesome. So this is my favorite boss in Elden Ring as a whole now. I would say easily. We'll see when the hype dies down if that changes, but as of right now, yeah. Character design super unique. The intro to the boss super unique. The lead up to it, the area leading up to it, and then like the manse, that as well, and how that's designed and how unique that is, and how you get up to his boss room. Just like literally, I could go on. The soundtrack too. The Divine Beast one is probably my favorite, but like this one's really fucking good too. There's just so I don't have enough good things to say. Or sorry, I have too many good things to say. My bad. Too many good things to say. Not enough time in the video. I hardly have any bad things to say. Yeah, I don't know. I fucking love this boss. I think it's great. And yeah, I really loved Mesmer too, but like this guy was just fucking sick. I thought he was so fucking cool. So that's the easy top S. I'll spoil it right now. That's the easy top S for me. Bale, I'll go top A. I think Bale is really cool, and I think a lot of people will probably have Bale in S. I think Bale is really fucking cool. But personally, I think I still prefer Placidusax from the main game. Although Bale is, you know, still really cool in his own right and is still a sweet dragon boss. And the lead up is awesome. Fuck that. Fuck that. We'll put it. You know what? I'm convincing myself. We'll put him in S. We'll put him in S. I don't think I'm only gonna have. I'm gonna need to move some stuff around. I think I'm only gonna have 2 A's. Yeah, fuck that. I gotta move Bale up to the top 3. I convinced myself while saying it. I still might prefer Placidusax, that being said, but Bale's still really fucking cool. It's really close. It's like neck and neck. They're both really awesome dragon fights. And yeah, just the lead up. I forgot his fucking name, but the character that you can summon, that's really hype too. His character adds a lot of flavor to it. And yeah, just the lead up of the mountain, the design of the area, the fight's actually like pretty well designed, really cool too. Bale is awesome. I think a lot of people I could see Bale being a lot of people's favorite, and I wouldn't, you know, that wouldn't surprise me. Again, personally, I thought Midra was fucking awesome, but Bale, as far as, you know, I generally don't prefer the dragon fights as much. This one's fucking cool. Like, more dragons like that, please, because I will fight those. He's really awesome. Gotta save the best for last. Had to take a drink for this one. First, I'll do some reordering. You know what? Fuck it. I'll throw these in A. I'll throw like... that's too much. That's too much. The Death Knight, I really like the weapon that Death Knight drops, so he can stay. But yeah, we can move some more in A. We can balance it out a little bit more. Anything else that I want to move? These should probably go down. Those should probably go down. These should probably go down. Let's say at the top. Something like that. I know it seems like I hate it. By the way, I really loved this DLC. I'm just saying, like, the lower end scale probably really seems like I hate it. But, I mean, most of these are just reuse bosses or bosses that have, like, legitimate issues. So, I actually think my tier list is pretty fair. For the most part. I liked that reordering. I think I'm happy with this for now. If I see anything else crazy, I'll move it. But I think for now, I think I'm happy with this. I think this looks pretty solid. Yeah, looks pretty good. Okay, Radahn. So if you watch this fight, and then I'm going to do the video on it too, this high of a rating may surprise you, but I'm going to go top of C for Radahn. And the reason why I want to put him in that, like, perfect middle spot is because he's a really frustrating one for me. Because there's aspects of the fight that I really like, and there's aspects of the fight that I really don't like. And it's just like, it's kind of like how Radagon and Elden Beast combined would put my rating of, like, the final boss of Elden Ring, if you wanted to count them together, at, like, a C. Because I think I did the same thing. I think if they were combined, I'd put it at about a C. It's kind of like the same thing, except it's just one boss. But yeah. The first phase, I think, is phenomenal. The second phase, what happened? That being said, about the first phase being phenomenal, there's some bullshit in the first phase, too. Some of his moves, man. His move where he does, like, the slide slash, and then the, like, that move is bullshit. I think I successfully dodged that move like maybe twice, and I did a lot of attempts of this boss. It took a few. I'll get the exact death count. I'm gonna do it when I do the video. So I'll do a video with all that. I'll do a fun edit, just to get some content out of it. I think it'll be pretty fun. I just think it'll be fun to make. But yeah, I did a lot of attempts. I swear to Bob, I only dodged that attack twice, and it doesn't even look like that confusing of an attack, but the timing of it is just so ridiculously tight that if you don't, like, use a shield or something, it's just impossible to, like, consistently dodge that or use, like, some sort of, like, talisman or something that, like, buffs your dodge. And I just think that's stupid. You know, I think you should be able to I think you should just be able to dodge fucking attacks, man. You shouldn't have to, like, changing your build can make it, like, easier, but it shouldn't be, like, a requirement. I think that's kind of lame. So, like, that particular attack really pisses me off. His really quick, like, pull-in attack, that one really pisses me off. I think there's too much AoE. I'm okay with there being some AoE because the final boss should incorporate everything that you've been seeing in the DLC, and the DLC has a lot of AoE. So, like, I'm fine with there being some AoE, but I think there's a little too much AoE in the second phase. I actually think the grab attack and the weird interaction with how that works with the death, I actually think that's fine because the grab attack's easy enough to dodge. Like, that's a fine enough punish. Totally fine. The hair in phase 2, the visuals of this fight in general, like, it is just, there's so much going on. The effects are so crazy. It's so hard to fucking see anything and, like, understand what's happening in phase 2. And then on top of that, he gets fucking Mikla's, like, big-ass fucking large, like, Radahn's big. And that hair, like, encompasses him. You can't see shit. It's, like, pure timing and no visual telegraph base when the hair comes on, I swear, because it just fucking blocks everything. They should, like, make it transparent or something when you're, like, close to it. The hair is obnoxious. So yeah, like, phase 1, aside from those few trouble moves, I think is really good. But then phase 2, phase 2, the rave of just fucking holy attacks going off, the opener AoE, that grab attack that applies to phase 1 and 2 both, but that grab attack, I hate that grab attack. I think the hologram attacks look really weird, and I think the visuals of those should be adjusted. The hair, the AoE, there probably should be a bit less. Like, I'm fine with him being difficult. I don't like how the difficulty of Radahn's fight, like, Radagon's difficulty felt pretty fair. Yeah, like, Radagon was difficult, but, like, just, like, pretty fair. I don't think Radagon has that many, like, bullshit moves. The way that you can play, like, his fight for a final boss. But Radahn has so many moves. At least, like, 2 or 3 moves that I have big issues with. And that's a lot for a boss fight, especially with how many times he can do them. He has a big health bar. Like, that's a lot. You're going to be fighting him for a long time. And then, like, you add onto that the visual element. I got to apologize to Malenia. I was too harsh from the base game, because Radahn is, like, I honestly don't think Radahn's really hard. But truthfully, I think the amount of time it took me to beat Malenia it might have actually taken longer for me to beat Malenia. Or either it was longer or my Radahn and Malenia times were pretty similar, I think. But honestly, I think Malenia, aside from Waterfowl, is, like, way more fair. And Malenia has a lot of bullshit. I think she's way more fair. Yeah, I don't like that the majority of the difficulty of Radahn's fight. Oh, the frames! I didn't even think about the frames. The frames, too. He absolutely cooks your frame rate. I think this is, like, a console and PC issue as well. He can absolutely destroy your frames, too, so that's frustrating as well. There's a lot of weird RNG to this fight, too. Like, I noticed that there's an opening move to phase 1, and there's an opening move to phase 2 that he will do, like, 95% of the time. But very rarely, he won't do those opening moves, and it'll throw off the flow of, like, the whole fight. And it's like, if it's gonna be that rare, why even have that RNG at all? Like, it honestly makes me wonder if it's a bug. The RNG of the fight in general is really important, because, again, some of his combos are really fucking hard or damn near impossible to dodge, whereas others are, like, pretty easy once you figure them out. So I can see it being a thing, too, where the fight feels kind of luck-based, because if you get the good combos, you can get into a really good groove, and you can slash that health, and you can get to his final health bar, like, really quickly, or final, like, quarter of his health really quickly. But if you get, like, the bad combos, the fight can be fucking brutal. It can be absolutely brutal. Of all the pet peeves, I will say the camera. Some people might mention it for this fight. Honestly, the camera, of all things, did not bother me that much. Maybe it's because of all the other shit that bothered me, that for once the camera actually, like, kind of took not the center seat. It was actually kind of in the back. So maybe that was why, but the camera actually did not bother me as much in this fight, surprisingly. So that was something that was good. And then another common pet peeve of enemies, like, running away from you. Radahn is, like, the opposite of that. He rarely does that. Like, he, like, closes distance, gets in your face, is very aggressive, and, like, you are kind of forced to fight him that close. But, like, for the character and for the final boss, like, having that kind of, like, square up, I think that's pretty cool. I think most of the combos, aside from the bullshit ones, are cool. So I'm just saying, like, oh, I also think from a gameplay perspective, okay, I don't really follow the lore or the story that much. From a pure gameplay perspective, I know it's not technically like Radahn. I know, okay, like lore, I get it. I get it. But I do think that for a $40 DLC, the final boss, I know that his moveset is like different a bit too, and I know the fight's not exactly the same as the Radahn fight from the main game. All right, before all those points come in, I understand that. I just think it's a little disappointing. I think it's a little disappointing. I was not very excited when I found out that Radahn was the final boss. This was one that I had spoiled for me, but honestly, I think that lessened the blow. I think if I found it out naturally, I think it would have pissed me off even more. But yeah, when I saw it, and when I saw that it was Radahn, I was like, really? Is that like a joke of like a spoiler? Is that like a meme? Are they like saying it's Radahn as like a joke? Because that's dumb. Nope, it's actually Radahn. No, it's not actually Radahn. Nah, I don't fucking care, man. I don't fucking care. It's just, I don't know. I wanted to see something different. I wanted to see something different for the final boss, potentially of this game ever, of a $40 DLC for it. That is just from a pure consumer gameplay standpoint. That is my opinion on that. All of that being said, I'm still going top of C. It was really frustrating, and luckily, like, the cool factor and the combos and moves that I actually do enjoy and aspects of the fight that I actually do enjoy were enough for me to put it to a C. But it's just, I can't go any higher than that because the bullshit is just stacked up a little too high. Like the highs are very high, but the bullshits are like right there. So just like middle C, that's just where it had to be, I thought. Or top C, that's just middle of the tier list. That's where it had to be. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Radahn. I hope he gets patched in some way. A suggestion I saw, which I think is a really good idea, is to move his health bar. Like his phase 2 transition happens a little too soon. Make it so that his phase 2 transition happens at like half health instead of like 70% health or whatever it is. And honestly, I think that, for one, I think that makes the fight more fun because the phase 1, I think damn near everybody can agree is like the more fun phase, and you get more of that. And that's another problem that I have with the fight is like, he goes from literally like 0 to like 200. It's ridiculous. Like the difference in intensity from phase 1 to phase 2 is obnoxious. I think if they split the health bar like that, it would feel a little bit better. I'll talk more about Radahn in my review of the DLC video whenever I get around to that. It'll definitely be a topic, but I'm sure there's other stuff I could come up with, but that's all I have off the top of my head right now. There you go. Agree, disagree on any of these, or if you want to do, again, I'll try to link in the description if you want to do your own one of these. Yeah, I'll throw it in there, but yeah, any hard agrees, hard disagrees, or just thoughts on the tier list as a whole, let me know. I feel pretty good about my list, to be honest. I will say, I saw a lot of people, I was a little worried getting into the DLC because I got into it late, but I was still looking, or I'd still see some stuff like, you know, opinions and stuff like on it. And I saw a lot of stuff about the boss design and it just being like obnoxious. And I was like, oh God, is this going to be really bad? And thankfully, the only two bosses that like really pissed me off were like Radahn and like the Golden Hippo. The Divine Beast, yeah, the Divine Beast too. So there was only, unfortunately, like one of them really took a long time, so it's just way more frustrating. But those are the only ones that like really pissed me off. The reuse bosses were more just like, you know, kind of whatever. Like it's not like I'm not mad fighting them. It's not like hard or frustrating. It's just frustrating that they're in the game. But yeah, so I was a little worried. I was a little skeptical going into DLC. I'm like, oh God. Thankfully, I found that like some of my favorite bosses in Elden Ring as a whole, a lot of them actually were probably in the DLC. And I loved a lot of the main bosses, and I thought they were really cool, and I loved a lot of the DLC. I have other problems with it, though. Again, when I get into that full video, I'll get into those too, for stuff like not around the boss fights. So it's not perfect. If I were to rate the DLC, I might change this when I get to the review video, but I think the DLC, as of right now, after they patch it, because I think they'll patch things, as of right now, it's like a 9. Whereas the base game, I think, is like a 9.5 to like a 9.8 is the max I'd go. But I think the DLC right now is like a 9. It's still really good, but there's a few things that I think will probably get patched out that will probably get changed, and the DLC, like 6 months down the road, will probably be incredible. But right now, it's still really fun. But there's some things that are just frustrating and just did not seem like they're play tested at all. I don't know. So yeah, but I'll get more in depth in that. I gotta wrap this up. It's been long enough. Hope you enjoyed the tier list. Love Midra. Fuck the Furnace Golem. See you guys next time.